What's up, guys? Hundreds of homeless people have disappeared into thin air. Now, this article is off of yournewswire.com. They also give their take off the original articles off of theguardian.com and as well as conservativedailypost.com. I'll give the links to these articles in the description below. Check them out for yourself and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. But before I even read the articles, when I read the headline, immediately the first thing that popped in my head was a couple of things. First, in Salt Lake City, when, over the past 30, 40 years, cattle mutilations have happened. Now, I don't believe that cattle mutilations, if it is a real thing actually going on, I don't think it's from space aliens or extraterrestrials out there conducting these experiments on these cattle. I think it's possibly, if it is a real thing, like I said, I believe it's our own doing, some type of military project going on. And of course, cattle mutilations have been going on in Utah, Nevada, Nebraska, Colorado, and Texas, the Midwest to the somewhat Northwest. That was the first red flag right there. That kind of, I'm trying to connect some dots here. And secondly, MILABs, military abduction programs. So, so it makes me wonder. I'm trying to, with me connecting the dots. Also in Salt Lake City is Dugway Proving Ground. And I will get into this in just a second. Let me go and get into this article. But police in Salt Lake City say they are mystified at the disappearance of almost the entire homeless community, consisting of hundreds of people. According to officials, the downtown emergency shelter that was once home to hundreds of homeless people became completely deserted overnight. ConservativeDailyPost.com reports some people are blaming it on recent law enforcement action, but Police Chief Mike Brown and others wonder where the people have gone. Brown had visited parks in the Jordan River where homeless camps previously existed, and Sergeant Brandon Shearer, I believe that's how you say the name, has been canvassing the region for a helicopter, but there is no trace of the people who previously lived there. When asked what he thought had happened, Shears said, "I don't know. That's a good question." And also it goes on to say, a few years ago, Utah claimed that it had won the war on the homeless. Jon Stewart ran a story called The Homeless Homed. But reports now indicate that the initial enthusiasm was overblown. Liberals say that the right-leaning Mormons in the state legislature are more prone to rely on nonprofit groups rather than legislation to help homeless people. However, many of the people who were on the street were there because of drug problems or mental illness. Some were just victims of a terrible lack of work under the Obama administration where unemployment rates didn't reflect when people just stopped looking for jobs. Although the city established a housing program that got some people off the streets, higher rents and steep regulations against small businesses have made finding work and keeping a roof over their head difficult for about 2,200 people in Salt Lake City. Now, like I said, I'll give the links to these articles in the description below, but let me go ahead and try to connect some dots here. Now, let's say that these people really did vanish almost overnight, it seems like. Also, they bring this article about on the eve of September 23rd. Strange coincidence, right? Or is it? But, okay, with Dugway Proving Ground. Now, if you are familiar with Dugway Proving Ground, it was a U.S. Army facility established in 1942 to test biological and chemical weapons located about 85 miles southwest of Salt Lake City and 13 miles south of Utah Test and Training Range. But like I said, this is a test biological and chemical weapons. So it makes you wonder, are they these people that are being that just pretty much vanished overnight in Salt Lake City? Is the military, did they abduct these homeless people to still conduct their test? And in 1941, the U.S. Army Chemical Warfare Service determined it needed a testing facility more remote than the U.S. Army's Edgewood Arsenal in Maryland. The CWS surveyed the western U.S. for a new location to conduct its test, and in the spring of 1942, construction of Dugway Proving Ground began. Since its founding, much of Dugway Proving Ground activity has been closely guarded a secret. And it goes on to say, on January 26, 2011, Dugway Proving Ground was placed on lockdown. A public affairs specialist for the installation would only say the lockdown began at 5:24 p.m. Employees were not allowed to leave, and those coming to work were not allowed in. Vogel said there was no injuries, no damage, and no threats reported at the proving ground. So, but it says the lockdown was in response to the temporary loss of a vial containing nerve agent. So so they're obviously still conducting these biological tests here, there in um, Dugway, which is 85 miles from Salt Lake City. So makes you wonder, with the people that were just disappeared in thin air in Salt Lake City, are they the product of experimentation by the military? It's a very well possibility because most of these homeless people are drunkies, uh, drug heads, and most of them probably have mental disorders. So the military probably doesn't have any shame of abducting these people and conducting experiments on them. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I'm just trying to connect some dots with this with the hundreds of homeless people that disappeared into thin air. But anyways, just let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are these people that pretty much vanished in Salt Lake City? Are they the product of military abduction, and are they the product of um, these tests still conducting at Dugway Proving Ground on biological weapons? Makes you wonder. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, keep truthing and have a good one.